In today's session of Divorce Court, Zely met 20-year-old Bryan Antonino when she was just 15 years old. She fell madly in love and got pregnant at 16. But now she says he's a loser who stole her youth.
He's done enough harm to my heart and my brain to last me a lifetime.
Well, it only takes about 2 or 3 minutes to do what you did.
You'd call me a name, why, Bryan? Because you met me when I was 15 years old, and you were the only person I slept with, and I'm a slut, and I'm a whore.
You had the first sexual encounter with her, and she's the mother of your child. Think about that.
If you knew it like I did, you call her names too.
Your little hormones just got to raging. All you saw was a woman in her body, and you didn't really care how old she was. You just wanted to jump her bones, as they say. And had she been my child, you probably would find yourself behind bars right now.
And now she wants justice.
You should be paying me all types of big loot and telling me that you're sorry for calling me whores and all types of stuff like that when you knew that I loved you so much.
As Zely Antonino and Bryan Antonino square off in today's session of Divorce Court.
All rise. Court is now in session. Maybelline Ephraim presiding. You may be seated.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is the matter of Zely Antonino versus Bryan Antonino. I'm advised that after a short period of being together, you're ready to end the relationship already, Mrs. Antonino. Why is that?
I've had enough. Bryan was like very verbally abusive to me. He treated me bad. He called me a whore and a slut when he knew he was my first sexual partner, and I'm done.
He called you a whore and a slut, and he's verbally abusive.
Controlling, manipulative. I
Just can't take it anymore.
done.
Now, you had a very strong accent I didn't quite understand when you said he knows that you're his.
He was my first, and he still would call me a whore and a slut, and we were married and we lived together.
And certainly you can't be a whore and a slut if you're the first relationship that she's ever had, unless they've changed that definition. What's that all about, Mr. Antonino?
I didn't call her a whore or a slut.
You didn't call me a whore or a slut,
lazy,
Bryan. You didn't call me whore and a slut, Bryan. You didn't call me a
Mr.
whore and
Antonino, your conversation and your comments should be directed to me.
I'm sorry.
Okay?
I worked 12 hours a day.
3 days a week.
Overtime. I came home, I cooked, I went food shopping, took care of my son while she sat on the couch and watched talk shows.
You took care of Tyson.
Talk to her friends on the phone.
You took care of Tyson, Bryan.
That's what he said. He took care of Tyson. Did you not hear him?
Yes.
I was an at-home
Our
mom.
son,
All I did was
Tyson,
stay
yes.
home with Tyson.
Yes.
That's all I did. That was my job. You fed Tyson. You didn't even know how to take care of
I did the
Tyson.
laundry,
I took
I went
care of
food
Tyson.
shopping.
I taught
She
you
was
how to
miserable.
take care of Tyson.
Now, wait a minute, Miss Antonino. You're yelling at him.
Yeah, because
You
he's
just
lying.
told me that he was controlling. Doesn't seem like he's controlling too much right
Because he's
now.
lying, and he's not going to sit here and, like, try to make me seem like all I've ever done is been Tyson's mother. And, like, with him. You didn't let me go to school. You didn't let me do anything. Anything, Bryan.
How are you going to go to school and watch your son?
Bryan, I could have went to
He was
school.
2 months old.
I could have went to school just like every other girl went to school.
Honor,
You put your kid in daycare and you go to school.
So you wanted to go to school?
Actually, I was my sophomore year that I left school because I was 16 when I was pregnant. And he was like, you're not going back. You're not putting the baby in daycare. You're not doing that. I'll leave you and you won't have You won't have...
Oh, don't use that word.
I'm sorry. You won't have anything.
So you were 16 years old when you became pregnant?
Yeah.
And how old were you, Mr. Antonino?
20.
Oh, little statutory rape going on.
That's why I did the responsible thing and married her.
So that's when you decided that you needed to marry her.
No, I didn't. I
Who
decided
was
that.
your mother when you're out with a 20-year-old and you're 16 years old? Or your father?
My mother was like, she did everything she could. My mother thought I went crazy.
No,
Like
did
when
she
I
know
met
you were
Bryan.
dating a 20-year-old?
Yeah,
when you were in high
I
school?
could only be with Bryan for 3 hours. Like, three nights a week I could be with Bryan. I was in high school.
Well, it only takes about 2 or 3 minutes to do what you did.
Longer than that, Your Honor.
But Mr. Antonino, I don't understand. It's not the end of the world. She had your child. She wanted to be a mother. At that point, you knew she hadn't finished high school. What made you think that you had the right to decide whether she could finish high school or not?
But we discussed all that before we made the decision. She said she'd get her GED. She could start college, go at nights.
I changed
The sooner
my
the better
mind.
we could buy a house. and have a backyard and a pool and everything for our son. That's all we wanted to do.
So then,
She wanted to go, every time September came around, she wanted to go back to school, fights. She was just crazy, throwing
Because
things at
it
me.
hurt me.
so what happened, Ms. Antonino, after you got married, and even though, did you decide to have the GED?
Yeah, I went and took my
take the GED?
And I got the test, but still,
And you got your high school diploma by
and I'm
passing the
still
GED.
it still hurts me.
But you were missing something by not going to high school and being with your
because
classmates.
if I went to high school and I finished, I always got really good grades in school. If I finished high school, I could have went to a dope college. I could have went to like a good college and like.
But I'm saying, why couldn't you go on back to college?
I still plan to go on to college, but now it's even twice as hard for me because now I have.
Because now you have a baby.
Exactly.
And
It's
you're
twice
getting a
as hard,
divorce.
and I'm getting a divorce, and we both have to struggle separately, and it wasn't supposed to be like that. Bryan can't just be like normal, till this day, I haven't been with Bryan in over 20 months, and even this morning he swore at me. Even this morning he still hurts me.
If you knew it like I did, you call her names too.
No,
Oh,
I
really?
wouldn't.
You'd call me a name? Why, Bryan? Because you were my first? Because you met me when I was 15 years old, and you were the only person I
That's
slept
like
with, and I'm a slut, and I'm a whore. And I used to tell you,
And if she is, you made her that. Because you were the one that had the choice, and you were an older man, and you knew what was going on and had a little bit more experience than she did. So now you're going to call her what you turned her into if you think she's a whore and a slut. You had the first sexual encounter with her. And she's the mother of your child. Think about that. You made that choice.
When divorce court returns, Zely wants payback.
you should be paying me all types of big loot and telling me that you're sorry for calling me whores and all types of stuff like that when you knew that I loved you so much.
And the judge talks tough with Bryan about having sex with a 16-year-old.
You looked at that woman, liked the way she looked, liked her body, and you didn't care at that point that she was 13.
I just wanted a donut and a coffee. That's all I wanted.
If you would like to have the judge hear your case in divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or email us at www.divorcecourttv.com. Divorce court is back in the case of Zely Antonino versus Bryan Antonino. As they argue over a $2,000 ring Bryan says should be his because she threw it at him.
What can I do for you so we can end this tortuous relationship?
Well, the reason why we're here is because she threw her $2,000 diamond ring at me, and it's missing.
She threw the ring at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't want nothing.
How did you get
nothing.
$2,000 ring
He didn't. His
just
mother
on your
bought it.
salary?
He didn't. His mother bought
My
it.
mother went with me to buy it. I bought the ring.
You wasn't, Bryan, you did not
His
buy
mother went with you to buy.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. You got a $2,000 wedding ring. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
The wedding ring?
Yes,
my
the
diamond.
diamond.
No matter where it came from, did he give it to you?
Yes, he gave it to me.
And it
I
was
gave
from
it.
his mother's money?
Yes.
That's even worse.
No.
I gave it to
That's
him.
a lie.
I told him
That's
when
a
I
lie.
left him, I was
That's
like, I
a
don't
lie.
want nothing from you. Not even child
Okay,
support.
well, it's missing.
Not nothing.
Well, it's missing.
You take yours and you go. Go ahead.
Well, now, if you're not getting much money, you're just now getting ready to go back to school, and you throw the ring at him and say, I don't want anything from you,
I said,
again, you're acting out of anger.
This is when we were separated, and I was like, I don't want it. I look at it, and it's like another you know what I'm
Reminder.
saying? I didn't want it. So in the heat of the moment, I was like, take it. I don't want
Well,
nothing.
You must have wanted it because it disappeared.
Yeah, I went into your house and stole
said
it,
she
Bryan.
threw
I
it
went
at
and creeped through your bushes, and I went and got it.
So she threw it at you. Where'd it go?
We were at her house.
So what do you want from this court if she threw the ring at you?
And I
I
went
want
into
the
my
value
house.
of the ring.
You want the value of the
Yes,
ring.
Your Honor, I do.
Why?
Because I know she has it. I paid for it.
If I had that ring and I had it in my possession, I wouldn't give it to him because I deserve at least that ring.
So why you don't think you should pay him for the value of the ring?
Because I threw it at him. It hit him. I went. I said, I'm
Didn't hit me.
done.
It didn't
Okay,
hit me.
so now the
I'm
ring
done
is
with
gone.
you.
Why shouldn't you pay him back since you didn't want it?
Because he had the ring. I think he's just trying to scam
Okay, let's
me.
say he doesn't have the ring. That's what he's saying.
So
you
why
don't
should
have
I
it.
pay him back? Because he's done enough harm to my heart and my brain to last me a lifetime. When Bryan didn't have anything and Bryan wasn't working, I was working and I paid Bryan's rent. I gave Bryan money for
You
insurance.
paid his rent?
Hell yes, I
1
did.
month, and I got the
Yes, I
receipt.
did.
Your mouth.
I'm
I
sorry,
have the receipt
but I
right
did.
here that shows I paid her back.
I want you to give me a 10-second summary of why you shouldn't pay him back for the value of the ring.
Because it was my ring. I worked hard. I fought. My mother thought I went crazy when I met Bryan. She made me go to counseling. I lost my childhood. I devoted everything that I ever had. And I've never loved no one like Bryan since Bryan. I don't think I ever will. And I do not think I should deserve to have to pay him $2,000 for him hurting me. Messing with my head and my heart. I should not have to pay you nothing. You should be paying me. You should be paying me all types of big loot and telling me that you're sorry for calling me whores and all types of stuff like that when you knew that I loved you so much, Bryan. I did everything for you. I fought for you from the beginning, and you knew that. Look at you and look at me. Look at you're a baller. I loved you unconditionally.
He's a what?
A baller. Like,
What is a baller? He has a lot of money?
No, he don't. He doesn't
What's a
even
baller?
work. I loved Bryan unconditionally for
But what's
all
a
of
baller?
his. A baller is someone who's like a basketball player. You know, ballers. They have money. They're like.
That's what I said. He has money?
No, I said it wasn't like he was a
okay.
baller. I loved him for everything that was good about him.
Even though he was poor and didn't have money, is what
Exactly.
you're
I wasn't
saying.
poor. I don't know what you're talking about. I wasn't
You're
poor.
not poor.
So
You're not poor because your parents got
why
money,
should she
Bryan.
give you
You ain't
back the
poor.
money for the
I
ring?
have one word for that answer. Irresponsible. She's irresponsible. That's why.
Well, what did you take when you take a 15-year-old and you're 20 years old?
16.
What were you
16,
trying to?
16.
Okay,
16.
16. And you're 20,
Well,
adult, 4 years on her.
it's-
What did you think she was?
Every time I meet someone, I don't ask them for their ID.
You knew I was.
Oh, really?
She did not
He-
tell me.
he knew
She
I
did
was
not tell me.
16
No, I
years.
did
You
not.
have to ask her
no,
for her
I
ID.
did not.
Because all of his
You
friends
did-
used to like
you
me,
did
and his
not.
friends were younger.
I'm sorry, that's a poor excuse.
Well, she told me she was older.
No, I
And
did
you
not.
couldn't find out whether
no, I
she
did
was
not,
or wasn't.
Bryan.
I didn't even think she was
You
lying
couldn't
to me.
find out before you married her and before
live in
you
the
had
same
sex
Yeah, I
with her
found out before I
whether she
married
was
her,
older.
but not before I had sex with her.
Because you weren't interested. It didn't matter to you, and let's tell the truth about it. You looked at that woman, liked the way she looked, liked her body, and you didn't care at that point that she was 13.
I just wanted a donut and a coffee. That's all I wanted.
Really?
I went through her work. I wanted a donut and a coffee, and this is what I ended up with.
You wanted donut
He
and coffee,
That's it.
and she was the coffee,
That's
and,
it.
and then you got some cream with
That's
it.
all I.
Yeah. That's what it was. And now you want to blame it on her and say, well, I didn't know she was 16.
Yeah,
That's the peak.
I don't
Donna,
blame.
can I
I don't
say
blame
something?
anything on her.
Can I say
just think
something?
she's irresponsible.
Irresponsible?
Yes.
You were irresponsible.
She's a mother and a wife, and she's irresponsible.
And you're a man,
And I'm responsible.
and you were irresponsible because you shouldn't have even been near a high school campus dealing with a high school girl.
And you goes
if
out
you
with a
wanted
high school
somebody
girl
so
now.
responsible.
But that's the difference. I was irresponsible once, not for 2 years.
Yeah. Well, you know what? What did you expect? You got what you expected. She's a child. So you had to take care of the child.
Which I
That's
do.
what you married, a child. And now you think that you should get some money back because not only did you marry the child, you gave her a ring. That's what marriage is. You give away rings. I'm going to change this to give myself a minute to think about this.
When divorce court returns, the judge renders her verdict.
And had she been my child, you probably would find yourself behind bars right now.
And an update on the case of Makiva Lowe versus Jerome Lowe.
I work hard for my things. No man bought it for me.
Let me see your fingers.
Diamonds.
Did you work and buy them?
Yes.
Put some more on there if you want to.
Divorce court is back and the verdict is in the case of Zely Antonino, who got pregnant at age 16 and says her husband Bryan is a terrible father who stole her youth.
We're back in the matter of Zely Antonino versus Bryan Antonino. This is one of the few issues, if I have any, that really get me upset. And that's this one. Two things. You're 20 years old. You go meet a girl, and you know you're an adult. You know there are laws that say you shall not have sex with minors. Minors are under the age of 18. You're fully aware of that fact. You meet her, you have sex with her. Now you stand up here and tell me that you didn't know she was not 18 years old. Nor did you try to find out because it really didn't matter to you. And nothing makes me more upset than to hear men, once they've had sex with a minor, an adult, try to use that age thing as she didn't tell me. You didn't ask and you didn't want to know because your little hormones just got to raging and all you saw was a woman in her body and you didn't care how old she was. You just wanted to jump her bones, as they say. And had she been my child, you probably would find yourself behind bars right now. It's not, there's too many men doing that, and there's not enough parents taking you in and insisting that the district attorney's office or law enforcement prosecute you for it. It's called statutory rape. It's still a crime. It's still against the law. It's still on the books.
I never said I didn't make a mistake.
I didn't ask you to say anything.
I never said I didn't make a mistake.
I didn't ask you to say anything. And I'm not saying you didn't make a mistake. I didn't say you didn't say that. But when you open your mouth telling me I didn't know she was that age, I hate that excuse.
Lied. She lied.
Mr. Antonino, Mrs. Antonino, both of you, keep your mouths closed. Mrs. Antonino, back to you.
Bryan.
You be quiet too. You bear some responsibility in this as well.
I know.
Even though I just counted to 10. That's it. Now don't do it again. Even though you were 16 years old, you could find out how old he was. And you were interested in an older man. And you probably were thrilled at the idea that an older man was interested in you. You have control over your body as well. You don't have to lay down with anybody and have sex with them when you're a teenager. I don't care how much they excite you and interest you and what they promise you. And when you do that, you have to think of the consequences of your act. The consequences being you had a child, which you weren't ready to have, which interrupted your high school career, which interrupted your plans, because within 8 months, 9 months, 1 year, it's all gone. That's because you're not marrying for love and you're not thinking about what marriage is. It means a change in lifestyle. It means I can't run out with my friends as often as I wanted to. You can't do that. It means I got to take care of my children. It means I got to pay the rent, the lights, the gas. You stay at home with your parents when you don't want to do all that. And you're not thinking about that. You're just acting out of lust, and then you decide, okay, now I got a baby, I'll marry on top of it. That make matters worse. That's all you're doing. If you just learn to think beforehand. But you gave her that ring as a symbol of your love and commitment to her. Again, you made that decision. It's her ring. She can do with it as she please. She can flush it down the toilet. She can throw it in the bushes. She can sit on it and crunch it. She can do whatever she wants to do with it. You gave it to her. It's hers. And the fact that she threw it away, so you're not entitled to any money for it. I think it was foolish. If the ring was worth anything and you're hurting for money and you didn't want the ring, you could have turned it in, sold it, and got some money off of it, rather than throw it away. And even if she did, it's okay. And she doesn't owe you a dime, even if she did. So it's not okay to you. And who are you?
I'm the one who paid for it.
That's right. You're the one who paid for it, and you're the one who married her. And that's the consequences of your act. The order of the court is she doesn't owe you a dime. Court's adjourned.
When Divorce Court returns, an update on the case of Makiva Lowe versus Jerome Lowe.
You haven't felt the need to get up off your behind because unfortunately somebody has pampered your little tail and is always providing and taking care of you.
If you would like to have the judge hear your case in divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or email us at www.divorcecourttv.com. And now for an update on a previous case in divorce court. Makiva said that her husband Jerome couldn't deal with the fact that she was an independent woman.
She's making more money than me, my mama, anybody else put together.
You haven't felt the need to get up off your behind because unfortunately somebody has pampered your little tail and is always providing and taking care of you.
Look at her fingers.
I work hard for my things. No man bought it for me. I work hard for everything that's
You know
on
what?
me.
Let me see your fingers.
Diamonds.
Did you work and buy them?
Yes.
Put some more on there if you want to.
Makiva said that Jerome neglected his responsibilities as a father and brought him to court. The judge ordered Jerome to pay $75 per week in child support. Makiva says she is busy with her career as a hairdresser and is very happy with her new boyfriend.
I think the verdict was perfect.
I thought the decision was bogus. I think she should have to pay me the money.
I
always tried to get along with Bryan for the sake of Tyson. That's why I'm in the situation that I'm in now.